Sometimes to me it feels like SmackDown is removed from the entire WWE landscape. You kind of have a big deal at the pay-per-view, which we had this week at Money in the Bank. Then you get to Raw, there's the big blow-off, and by the time Tuesday rolls around, it's almost as if WWE doesn't care. In short, I'm basically saying that ever since the wildcard rule came in, SmackDown seems to have suffered greatly, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad show. But let's find out if the recent one was brilliant or if it sucked my ass. You have no idea how much I regret saying that. It just came out of my mouth. My name is Simon Miller. This is Ups and Downs. So let's up those downs for SmackDown. SmackDown started backstage hell flipping. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that's the biggest change in the world, and actually what they did here wasn't great, but sometimes if you do tune into a program week in, week out, you just need something a little bit different, and at least that was this for my eyes. It was Shane McMahon absolutely destroying Elias for not beating Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank and telling him two specific things. One, he doesn't need his help at Super Showdown. That's mostly because he's buddies with Drew McIntyre now, but also two, when the Drifter does take on Roman in tonight's main event, he clearly does need Shane McMahon, so he will accompany him to the ring. All I took away from this, apart from the, oh nice, it looks a bit different, is that Shane McMahon is on TV too much, and that he's now just running down wrestlers as if he's the big boy on campus. Don't really need that. Good pull back on it. Give it a down. Thankfully, the New Day then arrived, and man, I tell you, they absolutely got me. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods were welcoming Big E back to Tuesday nights, and they brought some guy out, but he had like a big blanket over him because they wanted to do the big reveal. There was a drum roll, and when they did pull that off, there was just some skinny guy throwing out pancakes, and Kofi Kingston acted like this was the biggest travesty in wrestling history. It was excellent. Up. They yelled at that guy until the real version came out, and Big E may be the best person on the entire WWE roster because he got a great reaction from the crowd because, you know, he's been away from the last 6 weeks, but he went into weird Big E mode by asking Xavier and Kofi if he could smell them, and that confused the audience so much they just went silent. Let's just do it now. Let's not wait around. Let's give every single title, including the 205 Live title, to Big E, and also have all the other characters asking when he's not on screen, hey, where's Big E? Kofi also told everyone that he has to be serious now because he's the champ, and I enjoyed that. That was an insider reference. And Big E threw an absolute fit when they were interrupted by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. All of this just felt like a bunch of wrestlers having fun, and because of that, I had fun even more so when Big E called Sami Zayn Sam. Anyway, these two were obviously out here because they were recapping how Kevin Owens lost at Money in the Bank, and that annoyed KO so much, he didn't even say anything. He just turned around and he walked off. He is not a happy bunny. There is a rumor going around that apparently Owens has told WWE he doesn't want to go to Super Showdown because of where it's based, and more respect to that guy. So maybe this all ties in somehow, although saying that, if that was the case, Sami Zayn would be nowhere near your television. And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, just go Google Sami Zayn, Saudi Arabia. It's one of the most depressing reads you'll probably ever see. Sami and the New Day then went back and forth until we learned that yes, we are going to get Zayn versus Kingston later on. And of course, Sami Zayn here would count as the first wildcard entry of the night. Now, I didn't bring any of these up on Raw 24 hours ago because I just couldn't be bothered because WWE doesn't care. It's so complicated now, so I think what we'll do is I'll make my point later and then we'll just forget about it because it's exhausting and I don't want to be exhausted. We were backstage next as Carmella was looking for R-Truth, who was wearing the dumbest blonde wig you've ever seen in your life. I mean, he looked like Daenerys Targaryen, and he was terrified because he knew that Apollo Crews and Drake Maverick were looking for him now that he's the 24/7 champ. Truth said he came to SmackDown to get her help because he knew they were tight and they were friends. And I do want to say, if Carmella doesn't screw him over for that championship at some point, I will be annoyed. Also, to address some stuff from Raw Ups and Downs. Yes, I know this is dumb. Yes, I know the title looks like somebody, I don't know, picked it out of the trash, set it on fire, smashed it around the place, and they went, oh, look, it's a brand new belt. But that's the whole point. That's why I like it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sometimes when I'm watching a program, that's all I want. Also, using guys in these roles that otherwise would just be sat in catering, probably going, why did I sign that WWE contract, is better. It just is. up. It was Andrade versus Ali next, which I quickly realised was the SmackDown equivalent to Cesaro versus Ricochet that we got on Monday nights, because I don't know right now what the arc for either of these two wrestlers is. Like, if you bumped into me in the street and went, "Oh, Simon, I only have one question for you. Do you think Andrade or Ali is being pushed?" I'd be like, I have absolutely no idea. It got even more complicated because Ali won with a surprise roll-up out of nowhere, which is WWE's favourite finish when they're like, "Oh no, we booked two guys in a match, but we don't know what to do." But look, I'm just going to say this. They are both in no man's land, as we've just made clear, and I like both of them, and this match was pretty fire. I enjoyed it. Those two are just flying around like crazy people. So for that reason, in getting up. I would like there to be bigger and more obvious plans though, otherwise we just fall into the territory of having matches for the sake of having matches. And that's fine here and there, but when you're like, man, this is happening all the time, you kind of wonder what you're watching for. More Carmella and R-Truth nonsense followed, as Carmella was basically dressing R-Truth up as if he were her. He had like a crop top on and was even asking if he could wear a bra, or at least Carmella suggested he should wear a bra, and R-Truth was like, "You're going to have to help me with that. I've always struggled with them." Now, I didn't say that every segment to do with the 24/7 title was going to be gold. I would say this one missed, but as it's brand new, I'm alright with WWE trying. At least they're trying. It instantly got better though as we transitioned into Carmella taking on Mandy Rose, but we never got the finish of that match at all because the entire locker room emptied to try and take out R-Truth because he had gone out there like an idiot. I mean, if you're trying to hide because you are the 24/7 champion, why would you go on TV in front of millions of people? I did like that he'd gone to all these lengths to disguise himself, but he was still wearing the title, and because of all of that, it can never done. He legged it through the crowd with Carmella on his back, and that was quite the sight to see, as everybody that you would probably determine as a mid-card guy chased after him. And I just want to make this point, I want to underline it. Given this is the first week for this championship, I'm going to give WWE a free pass. I mean, less is more. You don't want to have skit after skit after skit after skit after skit. That's kind of what we did on SmackDown. Balance out a little bit, but I believe in it. I think there's potential there. Next week, we'll get down and dirty. Also, I know I'm a moron. I'm aware. You don't have to write in the comments, "Simon, you're a moron," or tweet me going, "Simon, you're a moron." I know. I'm telling you now. I'm bald. My name is Simon. I'm doing a video right now, and I'm a moron. Hashtag moron. We had an interview with Bayley who told us that she's trying to get rid of all this hugger stuff and be a serious contender, which I like because not only is that going to help Bayley, but it will help the fact she's now the SmackDown Women's Champion. And yet we had another segment where R-Truth and Carmella accidentally ran into the women's locker room, and then quickly R-Truth ran back out apologising, and he was still being chased by that pack of would-be thieves. Sami Zayn was looking on, and he couldn't have looked more disgusted. It was then Kingston versus Zayn, and boy howdy did we enter what's going to happen next in the feud territory. Give it up. It started with Big E laying in the back and he'd be attacked by someone, and everybody was assuming it was Kevin Owens. Straight away I got excited because I was like, oh man, I'll take a Big E versus Kevin Owens feud. I think that would be quite good. And then him and Xavier Woods had to go to a local medical facility, which I think is a hospital, but who knows? And that meant it was just going to be Sami versus Kofi one-on-one, and Kofi was really mad about it. The match itself was decent enough, and no surprises that Kofi won after the Trouble in Paradise. I think it's quite clear how WWE sees Sami Zayn, so let's just accept it and move on. But the focus was on everything that happened afterwards, because Paul Heyman came out with that briefcase and he was rubbing it like he thought a genie was about to pop up, and the tease was, is Brock Lesnar here and is he about to cash in? The answer is no, but there was kind of a, I wouldn't say a bigger surprise, but an unexpected surprise, because Kingston then got attacked by Dolph Ziggler. He kicked the absolute hell out of Kingston, including at one point taking a chair, wrapping it around Kofi's head and stomping on it, and he sold that hard. He was getting stretchered out at one point, but eventually wanted to get up and walk away on his own 2 feet, and that did work because the crowd cheered him like an injured hero. Going back to Paul Heyman, this is what I mean about the wildcard stuff. Does Paul Heyman count as a wildcard pick, or is he allowed to go wherever he wants? Because he's technically part of the Money in the Bank winner, and it's already been made clear that the Money in the Bank winner can do whatever they want. See why I don't want it anymore? It's too hard, man. I've only got one life. I don't want to be on my deathbed going, I wonder if Paul Heyman was on Raw or SmackDown. No. We bookended it with more bizarre nonsense as Roman Reigns was walking towards the building, and straight away I was like, Roman, you're very late. We're halfway through the show. What have you been doing? But in the distance, he could hear a guitar strum, and he looked around trying to see what it was, and it was Elias sat on top of one of the production trucks singing a song. And rather than say it like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, Reigns was more like, oh, my child has climbed a tree again, now I gotta go up there, bring him back down, and punish him. This was just strange. Down. Becky Lynch teaming with Bayley to take on Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans was alright too. But now that Becky Lynch has lost the SmackDown Championship, again, is she a Raw or is she a SmackDown guy? Because if you go on WWE.com to their roster page, she's listed as a SmackDown person, but obviously she's got the Raw title. As when it comes to Lacey Evans, she's obviously a wild card pick because she's definitely a Raw person. You see why I'm giving up on this? You see, all the wild card was, as we mentioned a few weeks ago, was to kill the brand split without killing the brand split. There's no rules. Things are just happening because they fit whatever story WWE wants to tell this week, and that's why it's convoluted, stupid, and why it gets a down. Like I say, though, the match was fine, so we can give that an up. Beforehand, Becky Lynch told Bayley that she shouldn't get too comfortable because once she's done with Charlotte and Lacey, she's coming back after her belt. And then surprise, surprise, in the match, Charlotte Flair was about to lock the figure eight onto Bayley, and she reversed it with a surprise roll-up pin or a crucifix pin or whatever it was. Point is, it was a surprise because, again, that is all WWE knows how to do when they put themselves in a position of we don't know who should win. Please, WWE, can we stop doing that? Come up with any other finish. I don't care if someone pulls a fish out of their pants and slaps someone around the face with it, as long as they get a solid 1, 2, 3. It was an inside cradle, that's what it was. Bayley hit an inside cradle, but we are seeing it too much. It's like at Money in the Bank when it was like ref distractions, ref's an idiot. Now it's like roll up, roll up, roll up. Stop it, down. And another 24/7 skit, and yes, this was one too many. Like I say, we got to find the moderation here, and we certainly went a bit too far. But that's probably because people are excited about it, and I'm okay with that. It started with Jinder Mahal trying to beat R-Truth for it, but he failed. Then he ran away and he bumped into the B team, and they got into a big fight because they both wanted to win. And throughout all that, Truth used it to leg it once more. He's like a modern-day Forrest Gump. Dolph Ziggler was back out next to cut a promo explaining his actions, and at first I was like, well, that's a bit odd. Why didn't you just do this after you did your attack? But fair play to old Dolphy boy, because he cut a promo here that kind of sent a chill down your spine and made you go, maybe I believe in Dolph Ziggler again. You shouldn't, because you know how WWE treats Dolph Ziggler. He'll go to Showdown where he is fighting Kofi Kingston for the belt and he'll lose. But fair play to you, Dolph. You delivered this very well. His reason is that when Kofi Kingston was out there stealing the show and putting himself into a position where he was able to win that championship, Ziggler was sat at home and he dropped the ball. Again, you can poke holes in this because you could be like, exactly, Dolph, you weren't here, you turned up to the Royal Rumble and you never came back. Well, sometimes it's about delivery. Like Dusty Rhodes, he used to say a bunch of gibberish, but it was the way he said it. You're like, oh my gosh, Dusty Rhodes is going to kick someone's ass. And I believed every word that Ziggler said. So good work, Dolph. Your stand-up routine has clearly helped you no end. And as usual, I can't remember what I said, but of course, this is going to get it up. Roman Reigns versus Elias was our main event, and it was okay. But tying into everything we've moaned about today with the wildcard rule, I think it's fair to say that SmackDown has suffered quite badly. It just feels like a bit of a mess. But again, this was all okay. It wasn't bad. Shane McMahon kept getting involved, but Roman Reigns is the man, so he was able to circumvent that. And when Elias was about to hit him with the guitar, Roman went underneath and speared his ass. Got the 1, 2, 3. Give it an up. Shane and Reigns then got into it again afterwards, but Roman should have been smarter than that, because from nowhere, here was Drew McIntyre. Yeah, wildcard rule. I got no idea what the figure was. I don't even care anymore. Like I said, he Claymore kicked Roman right in the face. That is how SmackDown went off air, with Drew going, I told you, Roman! I told you! So much like the last couple of weeks, ever since the brand split has just fallen into the floor, I don't think SmackDown has actually been as good as it was before we did all of that, but that doesn't mean it was a bad show. So in terms of our overall ups and downs, it will get an up, but it's not as strong as an up as I'd like to give. I just don't want to see the same people on both shows. That's what I've realised now. It's okay if they changed every week, but they don't. It was basically a way to ensure that Roman Reigns could be on both Raw and SmackDown. That's cool, but you're not really learning from the past, are you, WWE? But it was fine. It was an enjoyable way enough to spend 2 hours. I'm out. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this. Like, share, and subscribe. Head on over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture, and don't forget to complete the trifecta of ups and downs this week. Actually, it's going to be a quad before we get to Sunday. But of course, Monday, we had ups and downs for Money in the Bank. Go and watch that. Tuesday, ups and downs for Raw. You're watching SmackDown ups and downs. And yeah, on Sunday, we're going to up those down for AEW's Double or Nothing. And I'm pumped. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. The wrestling war is back, ladies and gentlemen. And the first big shot is about to be fired.